Awesome.
Wow, Frankie, so cool. Yeah, you asked how it's going. I'm out here in Prague. Where did you say you were today?
I'm out in Chicago for the moment.
Awesome. Well, hey, Frankie, we got some stuff we want to go over. You and I have spoken on the telephone a couple of weeks ago. I think that was. Maybe it was even a month ago. I forget now.
Yeah.
But you're working on a really cool IBD related project. And I was wondering if for whoever's going to be watching this either now or in the near future, you could give a little bit of an intro into what you're up to.
Yeah,
So,
no, absolutely. No, thank you. I appreciate that, Adam.
sure.
Well, as we all know, inflammatory bowel disease has significantly increased over the past decade, right? The rates are rising across the board for all ethnicities and races. And after seeing these this infusion, this influx of rates, and particularly in the United States, I started to do a little bit of digging. And after a couple of weeks of research, I luckily was able to link up with the with the Morehouse School of Medicine, and we started to do a little bit more digging, trying to figure out not only why the rates are skyrocketing, but who and what populations is IBD impacting and affecting most.
Gotcha.
And so I've been working in this space for about 2 years now. And about a year ago, I decided to make it the subject of my dissertation for my PhD. I'm a PhD student at the University at Buffalo, and I'm currently engaged in an amazing research project and looking for volunteers for this research project on race, class, and healthcare. And what we're looking at is specifically inflammatory bowel disease. And so that's kind of the quick overview. I'm sure we can get deeper, into it as we move forward. But I'm deeply passionate about this issue. I remember my first relationship with inflammatory bowel disease was with my best friend. And, he all of a sudden started to have these invisible symptoms, and he was very, very sick, and it took so long to get diagnosed correctly. Doctor after doctor, um, hospital after hospital, institution after institution. It got to the point to where he had to go to the emergency room because he was in so much pain. And they admitted him. They still didn't really know what was going on.
Wow.
And this particular individual, my best friend, I mean, a student, this was in high school, by the way,
Okay.
a student, just a classic stand up good guy, right? And the nurses and the doctors at the hospital that we were at, um, you know, kind of painted this picture as like a pain med seeker on him. And that was anything but the case.
Oh, wow.
And so, after a few days of being in the hospital, they finally realized that he had Crohn's disease, and he had a huge surgery because he had been misdiagnosed so many different times, and that really kind of had a lasting impact. This invisible disease that's so hard to diagnose, and so the core of my work revolves around diagnosis and what different groups experience in their own journey with Crohn's or colitis and IBD as it relates to being diagnosed and how difficult it can be to get that diagnosis early on, um, as we all know, which is so very important for a variety of different, health outcomes down the road. Anyways, I've been blabbing for like forever. I'll stop.
No,
I'll stop
man.
there because I'll just keep going. But
Frankie,
yeah,
that's
that's
awesome,
kind of
though.
the overview as to how I got into this work and what kind of work I'm doing.
Gotcha. Wow, incredible story. How is your friend doing today?
Oh, he's so great. He's been in remission. He got on a biologic, a few months after his initial diagnosis.
Okay.
And he's had a flare up, a hiccup here or there.
Sure.
And I think, I don't know how long he did the biologic, but he transformed his diet, he transformed his outlook, his mental space, all these things that, doctors really don't go into. You know, a lot of the people that I've talked to, when they get the diagnosis, they get a pamphlet or a piece of paper that says, don't eat X, Y, and Z, eat ABC, right? But like,
Sure.
it's so much more than that, right? It's a mindset, it's a lifestyle. And, you know, I've really worked hard to connect my network of IBD brothers and sisters to this broader network of mindsets on how to deal and live and move on from inflammatory bowel disease. But he's doing
Gotcha.
great. He's doing great.
Excellent. Good to hear. Good to hear. I like the energy, Frankie, because it's
Thanks.
it's 9 o'clock out here in the Czech Republic, so people are starting to kind of calm down, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
picking it up
Sorry,
again.
sorry.
No, don't be sorry. So, all right, so let's go back to your project. You're looking for people that have inflammatory bowel disease. And so the I Have UC website, as you can imagine, and we talked about it when we spoke previously, is mainly for people that have ulcerative colitis like myself, or family members, or friends, or relatives, or anybody that wants to, read information and read stories about people with UC. So people that have UC, they are helpful for your project?
Absolutely, 100%. I
Okay,
would say of the 30 or so interviews that I've already completed, probably half of them are dealing with a UC diagnosis. So absolutely. Um,
okay,
if you're interested, to all y'all out there, if you have UC and you're interested in participating in this research, please feel free to contact me. Absolutely, a UC diagnosis. Um, is absolutely something that we're looking into, investigating, and researching, such that we can get, the end goal here is to figure out how to get what resources we can put together, what kind of educational programs, what kind of um, barriers we have to eliminate so that we can get a quicker diagnosis, so that we can target some of these outcomes that don't need to be so significant, right? Because if we
gotcha.
diagnose it correctly, and we immediately start on a regimen, whether that be Western, Eastern medicine, however it is that person
Sure,
wants to approach,
absolutely,
the better the outcome is for that patient and their family and friends and their entire network, right?
absolutely. So trying to minimize the time to diagnosis, and are you also then looking at um, differences between different groups of people and how this process takes? Is that part of your project as well?
Absolutely.
Okay,
So there are a variety of different variables we're looking into. Um, One of them is, there's a lot of research on kind of high class and low class individuals. In the Western world, inflammatory bowel disease is significantly associated with, or at one time it was significantly associated with higher classes in terms of income, right?
okay,
Now, over the past 30 years, that has completely shifted. And now we're seeing a lot of lower class individuals and populations being diagnosed with inflammatory bowel disease.
gotcha.
And one class that gets continually left out is the middle class. And so, one question I'm asking is, how is the middle class faring uh, in their diagnosis, in their experience with inflammatory bowel disease? Another measure we're looking at is trust. We're deeply
Hmm,
interested in trust because IBD is this originally this invisible kind of um, uh, disease. It's not like you have a broken arm. You go to the hospital, the doctor sees your broken arm, right? A
sure,
lot of patients come in to the emergency room or to their primary care physician with like weird pains and or a variety of different symptoms, and they don't immediately connect to UC or colitis or Crohn's, and so it
sure.
does take some time, and a lot of misdiagnosis happens. And we're interested in at the University at Buffalo how that impacts trust and how middle class IBD patients view their medical community as it relates specifically to trust. One of the things that we're
Absolutely.
seeing early on is that trust can be, earned, and trust can be broken, right? And a lot of the patients that I talk to have seen a bunch of different doctors, and they have all these different micro experiences. Some are very good and helpful and awesome. Others are borderline terrifying in the way they were treated and the way they were believed and dealt with. And so documenting these experiences as it relates to trust and inflammatory bowel disease is so deeply important in terms of, you know, how we as a medical network can be better when it comes to serving inflammatory bowel disease patients.
Gotcha. Excellent. That's fascinating.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No, it's all great stuff, super important stuff. And I'm so
awesome.
happy to be in this space. Um, I it's so IBD in my opinion kind of gets this weird end of the stick, right? Like it's a very serious and complicated disease. And
Sure.
but at the same time, no one, unless you know someone with it, people don't really know the trials and tribulations, the loss, and the experiences of navigating an IBD diagnosis. And that's another end of this, is
Yep.
documenting their story, documenting their narrative, such that we can bring it to the forefront of research.
Gotcha. So, Frankie, let's break this down here.
Sure, sure, sure.
If someone is interested, and I am, I told you last time, I want to be a part of this, in being a part of your project, can you give a little bit of a what the heck we could expect as far as what's that going to look like? When does it begin? When does it end? How much time commitment and so forth? Just break it down real quick.
Absolutely no problem. If you're
Okay,
interested in participating in this research, you simply send me an email. I have a flyer that you have and we'll send out. You send
perfect.
me an email. You and I will start, talking via email, learning more about you, your diagnosis. And, once the screening part is over, basically what it involves is a 30-minute interview. Now, depending on the patient, these interviews can go much longer, but I always tell every participant that we can get the interview done in 30 minutes. However, in my experience, a lot of the patients that I've worked with really want to tell their story because it's deeply important to them. So there's
Sure.
no time limit. I'll never tell a participant, hey, I have to go. I'll never do that. But you know in a nutshell, it's a couple of emails you and I exchange. We kind of screen, make sure that you fully understand, I fully understand where we're at with your diagnosis and your IBD experience, and then we will schedule a Zoom call, and we'll hop on Zoom. We'll do a 30-minute interview, and there's a bunch of other little things that come along with it, but in a nutshell, it's a qualitative project, and I will be interviewing you for 30 minutes.
Gotcha. Okay. Sounds like fun. Well, hey, Frankie, I really appreciate you jumping on here and letting us know that you're involved in research that's going it sounds like it's going to ultimately help out people, family, friends, relatives that have or someday in the future will have IBD. And that's a lot of what the IWC website's all about as well. So that's excellent. And yeah, I'll post up this video. I think it might be recording. It might be available right at this moment. If it's not, it's going to be. And and we'll move from there. And I guess another question is, so will you be able to, let's say, reach back to me so we could publish on the IBC site whatever type of research you end up publishing? Or I'm not sure how that's going to work out. What's going to happen, let's say, farther down the road when the project is completed?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. So
Super.
once the project has been completed, and defended, um, all of the findings will be available to not only each participant. Every single participant is
Okay.
welcome to a copy of the research itself,
Okay.
but also you as oh my gosh, I'm going to forget the name. Give me 30 seconds. No, no, that's too long. Give me 5 seconds. If not, I'll move on. Oh my gosh. So, like, you have a specific name and I'm totally forgetting it. Forgive me.
Is it like a
But
subject or something? Are we a
um, Oh, why do I keep wanting to say gatekeeper? You are the opposite of a gatekeeper. um, anyways, so because you've opened up your platform, you are
Okay.
absolutely entitled to a copy of all the findings, and we can totally post, all of the results. We can send that out in the newsletter. So to answer your question quicker, yes,
Super.
100%, you will have access, and I will be sending out once the project is finished.
Excellent.
Not a summary analysis, but also the actual project itself.
No, that's great. It just people are usually dying to know with these UC and IBD related projects, what's the end result? What's the answer? What's the final, whatever it may be. Oh, we've got
Yeah,
someone, Jennifer, Rebecca.
yeah.
Hey, Jennifer. Thanks
Hi,
for joining
Jen.
in here.
Oh, key
Anyways,
informant. Key informant. You are a key
yes,
informant. That's what it's called.
gotcha. Okay, and also, so how many people with IBD are you hoping to gain for your project? Like, how many people have you already interviewed, and
Mhm,
how many
mhm.
more do you need to complete what you're doing?
Right. So I have already interviewed around 20 IBD patients, and I'm
Okay,
hoping to get another 60.
okay,
And there's this concept of saturation in qualitative research, which basically means, in a nutshell, you keep hearing the same story over and over in your interviews.
okay.
So saturation could come into play earlier, but I'm hoping to get around 80 to 90 total interviews so that I can really paint a distinct picture and represent the experiences of IBD diagnosis and navigating an IBD diagnosis um, to the highest possible quality.
Excellent. Frankie, super cool. I want to make it clear to anyone who's watching that there's no financial arrangement whatsoever between your project and is this a PhD thesis? Is that what this
Yes.
is called?
Yes,
Okay.
this is a PhD dissertation that I'm
Okay.
conducting as a student at the University at Buffalo. Yep.
Wow. So you would become a doctor after this is completed, or you already are, or what's the deal?
So I'm right now. My status is what's called a PhD ABD, which stands for all but dissertation. So I've
Wow.
completed every other requirement to become a doctor or a PhD holder, except for presenting the final PhD dissertation, which this is.
Okay. So we can help you become a doctor. Is that the
Yes, you
idea?
could totally help me. Absolutely, 100%.
Wow, wow. Oh, so someone here, Jennifer Rebecca, has just written a comment here saying, just joining in, missed the first part. We'll go. Oh, and I might mess this up. Hang on a second here.
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
I think she said she's wondering what this whole thing's about. Just for if someone's jumping on right now, do you want to give a quick overview again, Frankie? And then we can
Yeah,
probably
yeah, no
wrap it up.
problem. Yeah.
Go for it. Go
So,
for it.
thank you, Adam. So basically, Adam has invited me here today to talk about a really wonderful research project that I'm doing in collaboration with University of Buffalo. I'm a PhD student writing my dissertation on inflammatory bowel disease, um, specifically diagnosis, trust, and clinical trials. Right, those three things are the three variables that I'm interested in. And what me and Adam have been talking about is basically spreading the word that I'm looking for research volunteers. If you have inflammatory bowel disease and are interested in participating in qualitative research, sitting down in an interview for 30 minutes with me, such that I can, you know, uh, learn your experience with IBD, learn how your diagnosis went, learn how you feel about your medical community, learn how you kind of think about trust as it relates to your medical community. Please feel free to contact me. My email is going to be kind of sent out, and we can talk further about participating in this amazing research.
And also, the kicker is the reason why, or one of the main reasons why you got interested in this whole topic was from a friend of yours. Was it high school who was diagnosed?
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. Diagnosed with Crohn's. I think he was 15, 16. We were both around that
Wow.
age,
Okay.
and it was an experience, and it shaped the next 5 years of his life. And not so much me, but as his supporter, right? As someone in his network,
Sure.
who wanted him to get better, shaped, how we looked at nutrition, at food, and different things like that. The medical field, the medical community really shaped us in a variety of different ways.
Wow. Frankie, thank you so much. And Rebecca, if you're still there with us, did that give you a little insight? Maybe you could write a little comment again because somehow I lost the other one. But hopefully it did give her some insight and whoever else. And hopefully this can be replayed. But I really appreciate, Frankie, you taking the time to jump on here and would definitely be interested in helping. Oh, so I think you answered her question. Excellent. Thank you, Jennifer.
Awesome.
That's
Yeah. Thank you, Jennifer. I look forward to talking to you.
that's really cool. We'll get Frankie's contact details and all that stuff together. And oh yeah, no problem. She says thanks for explaining all. Um, Thanks so much, Frankie. I'll put a posting together. We'll put this on the website, and we'll send a message out to the newsletter. Well, another question I wanted to ask
Mhm.
is this the people who participate? Is this limited to a specific geographic region, or can this be global?
Oh, you know what? That's a great question. And I've been thinking about it. Um, yes, I think it is going to be limited to the United States framework, right? So if you were diagnosed with inflammatory bowel disease in the United States, because the analysis is on, the American health system, right? Um, so I think one of the screenings will definitely be, um, you know, in order to qualify, your diagnosis would have to have taken place in the United States. Now, with that said, a lot of people that I've talked to have been diagnosed in the United States, but looked to other countries to for answers, right? And they've gone here, they've gone there, they've tried Eastern, the Taiwan, China. I have two people who literally went to China to learn more about Chinese traditional medicine because nothing was working for them in their Western medical approach. So if you were diagnosed in the United States, but let's just say you sought treatment elsewhere, you can totally be a part of this research.
Okay. Okay. No, that's helpful. Well, excellent. Thank you so much again. Have a great rest of your, what is it, afternoon for you? Early
Yeah,
afternoon?
yeah, it's around what, three in the afternoon here in the States.
Awesome. And I hope that a lot of people who watch this decide to participate because it sounds like it could be very helpful. And we'll stay in touch. And oh, Nacho, someone is saying that they're not able to help. I got a feeling because they're located outside or
Yeah,
diagnosed outside of the US. So yeah, that's a
yeah,
challenge because the IFUC site is totally an international website. But I'll try to make sure when I send an email out that it's focused just for US located people. And hopefully the information though, once it's like the final report is ready, can be something that's helpful for people internationally as well. Either
absolutely.
way, thank you so much, Frankie.
No, thank you,
Appreciate it.
Adam.
And we'll stay in touch.
It sounds great. Thank you so much, Adam, and thank you to everyone who's watching. Have a wonderful day, and hopefully we talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Now I'm going to try to
Okay.
figure out how to turn this off because this is the first time I know it's on telephone. But without losing it all,
All
I'm going to
right.
hit. Should I hit the X button, Frankie? There's like
I'm
an
gonna
X.
hit the X button too. Yeah.
Okay, I'll
We'll
do it.
3, 2, 1
All
it.
right. Three,
Three.
two, one. Hit it. Oh, did I hit it? End stream.